Hey, welcome back to this channel. It's your man Cigar Life Banks here for episode number 4. Hey man, it seemed like I just talked to you guys yesterday, probably in YouTube world. Did yesterday. I probably filmed this yesterday. Nah, just joking. Hey man, listen, first I want to give thanks to Dave and Angel Jackson for episode 3, the Atlanta Cigar Life culture, the lounges and so forth. Talked about a lot of different things. So today, have a little something different for you guys. But before we get to that, let's start out by congratulating you guys and thank you guys on the enormous turnout you guys have given the channel, the love you've shown, and the input and the engagement that you guys have created within the comment section. I greatly appreciate it. Also, for those that are, that comment that says, how did this video get in my feed? I don't know. We're going to cue the angelic music and we're going to tell you that it's divine intervention. Maybe I was supposed to be in your life. Maybe you're supposed to be in my life. Who knows? But somehow we came together. So I don't believe in luck. Just a little preparation, a little, divine intervention. So here we are. Hopefully you'll tell a friend that does smoke cigars to tune in, like, comment, and subscribe on the videos. Today, we're going to talk about the 10, maybe 11 myths that are in the cigar industry that permeates amongst the cigar culture. Maybe some are true, maybe some are false. I'll give you my take on it. And you guys let me know in the comment section like you always do if you believe in what I've said, if you agree with what I'm saying, right? If you don't, again, like I always say, I got tough skin. And what y'all gonna do to me? Y'all just on YouTube. Who gives a, So, hey, let's get into it. The production team took a while to get this shot together. So I done burned through my cigar, but it is a Cohiba Rubicon. The Cohiba Orange, as a lot of you guys will probably affectionately know it as. It's the least pricier version entry into the Cohiba line, and I've been smoking this over the weekend, and I enjoy it. So, speaking of the weekend, I was out in Dallas, Texas over the weekend, and I went to Addison Cigar Company. I believe it's what it is. I'm in Addison, Texas. An amazing, amazing cigar shop. I'll be putting some links in my Instagram feed this week so you guys can check out the shop. And if you're in the North Dallas area, please go by and stop in the Addison Cigar Company. All right, so let's get into it. Myth number 1. Let's start out with it since I'm already smoking the Cohiba. Are Cuban cigars the best cigars out there? Are they better than any other cigar on the market? What do you guys think? Well, my answer is absolutely no. Now, because of the mystique and the I would say the limited availability back in the day of the Cuban cigars, it kind of took on that it was the best thing out there because of limited edition. But as we most know, Nicaraguans, Dominicans, and even some U.S. blends, can rival the Cuban stick, right? And then also the fact that Cuban cigars are not necessarily that adventurous as it comes to the blends because the government kind of controls those sticks and they keep it kind of a closely guarded recipe, if you will. They don't experiment as much, so you don't get a whole lot of variation of the Cuban blends. And then also, I would also say this. A lot of people out here probably smoking counterfeit Cubans as well, right? Let's be honest. There's so many counterfeit Cohibas out there or different that you really don't know unless you really know, right? So 9 times out of 10, we've all probably had a counterfeit Cuban and thought it was a Cuban when it really wasn't. But to say the least, are Cubans the best cigars on the market? Nah. I'm going to bust that myth. Myth number 2. Darker cigars are stronger than lighter cigars. What say you? I'm going to tell you right now, that's a big old lie. But most of us, when we came into starting to smoke cigars, we were told the same thing. The lighter color cigars are not as strong as the darker color cigars, and you should start out with the lighter color cigar. Well, in fact, the colors of the wrapper only has to do with the fermentation period or how long a wrapper sat in the sun, or if it sat in the sun at all, if it was shaded or what have you. It has very little to do with the strength. The strength actually lies within the blend. So when you think about it, that's just a big old lie that a lot of us have told each other over the years, and let's not worry about it. Now that little thumping you hear in the background, that's my big old K9 and 97-pound Akita that wants to get a part of the show. So the more the thumping you hear, don't worry about it. He ain't gonna bother nobody unless you come bothering your boy. So we're gonna debunk that myth real quick. Darker colored cigars are not necessarily stronger than lighter colored cigars. Now if you don't believe me, go ask somebody. Check it for yourself. Let me know. Myth number 3, you should never ash your cigar. Now listen, again, I was told the same thing, that, you let the ash go because it showed a couple of different things, right? It paid homage to the hand rollers that actually roll these cigars. It also told whether or not the cigar was properly constructed. And then the third thing was whether or not it was properly humidified. Now, I've since learned that that's not necessarily the case, and you can let it grow about an inch, and then you can simply tap it into your ashtray until it falls off. And if it falls off and it holds its kind of a shape a little bit, it tells you that it's well constructed and it's properly humidified. Now, those of you that like to walk around with the long ash, look at my ash, that's fine and dandy too. I've done it. I still do it from time to time. But just keep in mind, if it falls on you, gets on your clothes or whatever, you're going to be wearing ash and not necessarily enjoying the smoke. And like I said in the first episode, if it falls on the floor at your mom and pop shop, grab the local broom and the dustpan and get that shit up, please. That's all we asking. So, can you ash a cigar? How should you probably ash it? Now I just kind of sit it on top of a ashtray in the holder and give it a light tap and allow the ash to fall off, right? And continue to smoke it. Nothing wrong with that. So to answer that question, yes, you can ash your cigar. Now, it didn't tell you clowns to go out here and then tap it in the side of in the ashtray and roll it all around and mash it all down to it's flat and then try to light it again. That's not what we mean by ashing. So let's be honest with ourselves when we say, well, Banks said we could ash it. Never told you clowns to do that. So just let's stay with that, okay? So that was number 3. And yes, you can ash your sticks. Now, number 4 might rub some of you guys the wrong way, but are bigger cigars necessarily stronger? Now, I know some of you cats that walk around here and like to stick a 70 gauge in your mouth and say, yeah, I just like a strong stick, so I went with the 70 gauge so I can get that real punch. Yeah, nah, that's not it. Just feeding your ego, though. Tell anybody what you want to tell them, but just because it's bigger does not mean it's stronger, because there's some Robustos out there that'll blow your cap off just as much as any of these 70 gauge sticks that you guys are out here smoking. So let's be clear. Stop telling that lie that bigger is stronger just because you want to feel like a man because you got a 70 gauge, pause, in your mouth. It's just because you like a 70 gauge in your mouth, and that may or may say something about you. I don't know. And I'm just a messenger, so don't get mad at me for saying it. Bigger does not necessarily mean stronger, so that myth is busted. Myth number 5, the real aficionados. They never relight their sticks. Well, I say that's just like the young people say, that's cap. Because here's the thing about it. Cigars are naturally designed, if they're properly humidified, they're naturally designed to go out if they're left unattended for a while. Now, how you relight your stick is all the more important thing that we should be focusing on, right? Like if you leave the ash on there, you relight it while it still has an ash in there, you're bound to change the flavor profile of that stick. If you sit it down for a while and you don't do that, you may make your stick a little bitter and so forth. So at that point, I say give a little slight tap and an ash and move on and relight your stick. But like my girl said in the last video, when you're smoking these sticks, it's almost like taking a $20 bill and just set the torch to it and then letting it burn out, right? Why would we do that and not relight it? I don't have that kind of money. Maybe you do. Maybe you sat down and left your stick down for a few minutes. It went out. You go, oh, it's ruined now. I can't relight it. Smoke your smoke, like I always say, but I ain't doing it. And I wouldn't suggest you doing this unless you got more disposable income than the next guy. So I would definitely not do that. So myth number 5, the real aficionados don't relight their sticks. I call cap, and that myth is busted. Number 6 is just a common sense one, but I got to throw it in there, right? Never inhale your cigar when you smoke it. Now, some people may say, well, I inhale it, and I call cap again, because we've all done it where the smoke has gone down the wrong pipe and you've coughed up the proverbial lung, right? Snot out your nose, eyes water and all that, and you feel like you're going to die. Now, I do a retrohale, and it's not the same as a straight inhale like with your cigarettes and or your herbal essence. So I can't say that on YouTube, but your herbal essence, you get my drift. It's not the same. Cigar is more potent, and I would not suggest it. So I'm going to definitely say you do not inhale a cigar. So that's facts, right? Number 7, the myth states the longer a cigar burns, the better it is. Well, I don't agree with that at all, right? That goes right along with the bigger the stick, the stronger it is, right? The longer the cigar burns can depend on a lot of different factors. One, how you cut it, be it a guillotine, the V cut, and or a punch, and then how often you draw on your stick, right? That can determine how long a cigar burns. Also, the environment in which you're smoking in, right? If you're smoking outside without a cross breeze, it may burn a lot longer. If you're inside, you got a ceiling fan blowing out on top of you, it may shorten the life of that stick. Or if you like me, you smoke in a car and the wind is blowing and you look down and you got that constant red ring around your cigar, it's constantly burning. Will that impact the flavor? Absolutely, because it's kind of burning kind of fast, and you burn leaves faster, you get a burning sensation. We all get that. We all understand that. And if you don't, we'll talk about that later. But the longer a cigar burns does not necessarily equate to it being a better stick. Myth number 8, and this goes out to my cigar snobs out there, right? That the price of your cigar determines whether or not it's a good cigar or not, right? Now, I know I always say, I just smoke Cohiba Blues because that's just something I just popped in my head, and it's an argument that we had in the shop, right? Not necessarily an argument, but a debate, right? But there are $6 or $7 and even $8 sticks out there that can be just as good as a $20 stick as it comes to construction, as it comes to blends, and so forth, right? They just don't have the marketing machine behind it or the hype, right? So don't get fooled by that. But more importantly, smoke what you smoke. And this particular one is more so about your own individual palate. Smoke what you smoke, like what you like. You might be a Fresca guy. I might be a Cohiba guy. Doesn't matter. Like your smoke. And the price point is always based upon what? What you can afford to pay for and enjoy. So take it from me. The price of a cigar does not determine whether or not it's a good cigar. Plain and simple. Number 9 is an oldie but goodie. And I don't necessarily know that it applies to today's cigar smoker, but we'll talk about it anyway. Leaving the band on your stick, right? So it used to be customary back in the day to remove the band off your stick because you didn't want to be pretentious or that guy that was one-upping somebody because you smoking a premium stick or an expensive stick and they were not. So everybody just took the band off and you enjoyed the stick, right? And that's fine. But nowadays, I don't think it really matters. And then you went through a time period where you only smoked it to the band and then they put it out. Those guys had a lot more money, obviously, than I do. I remove my band once my cigar gets close enough to melt the kind of adhesive glue around it, and I pull the band off, as you see right here, right? I pull it off and I continue to smoke my stick. So leaving the band on or taking the band off, I say taking the band off leaving the band on is in poor etiquette. Nah, I don't think so. To each his own. Smoke your smoke. And I would also say that nowadays, by leaving bands on, people now recognize other smokes. So when I ask you, what are you smoking? And I recognize that particular band, I may or may not know the manufacturer of that cigar, but I go into a humidor and I ask for this particular band, and voila, that tobacconist can find that brand for you, right? So, 50-50, but I'm going to say, leaving the band on or taking the band off is not in bad etiquette. So that myth is debunked as well. Myth number 10. Now, a lot of you guys don't get ruffled by this one, right? Cigars are addictive. Some people say cigars are not addictive. Well, does it have nicotine in it? Yes. Is nicotine an addictive? Does nicotine have addictive properties? Yes. So if that is the case, then that would, by definition, say cigars are absolutely addictive. Now, depending upon how often you smoke a cigar, if you're a chain smoking, things of that nature, or if you just like to smoke on a daily basis, you may not agree with cigars are addictive. Me, being a cigar degenerate, I'll tell you, I wake up in the morning, get my coffee, like, damn, can I have a cigar? Nah, fool, you got to go to work. You don't want to walk in there smelling like cigar breath, like you just walked out of the lounge. Get ready to go to bed. Did I smoke a cigar today? I got a problem. I'll admit it. I'm a cigar degenerate. I just don't go to them meetings. Wait, actually I do. I go to them lounges all the time, and I meet up with the rest of the cigar addicts. That's going to be a shirt, too. I'm going to stop giving y'all my little tips right here. But yes, so cigars are addictive, and I would say that myth has been upheld. Now, The last two are honorable mentions, and I like to give these honorable mentions. So number 11, and this is for you flavored smokers out there. If I place a flavor stick into my humidor or my regular sticks, it will not impact the taste or the flavor of my other sticks. Well, that's a lie. Now, how many times have you guys gone by and you walk by the Tatiana display and you can smell all the perforations of all those different floral scents, the grapes, the vanillas, the cherries, and all that? You don't think if you put that into an enclosed, airtight box with your unwrapped sticks that is going to impact that? It absolutely would. And I also want to tell you that it's probably a best practice that if you are a flavored or infused cigar smoker, the majority of your smokes, put those in your bigger humidor, right? And then put your non-flavored sticks in a travel size humidor or vice versa. Because what you'll learn is if you put a bunch of flavored sticks into a normal humidor and you just allow it to sit there and that humidifier is going, it will, once you take it out, what they like to call a ghost smell, right? Or a ghosting inside of your humidor where you'll smell those flavored sticks inside of your humidor. So best practice, in my opinion, is to keep them separate. Keep your Tatiana Groovy Blues away from your Cohiba Blues, if that makes sense to you guys. The next honorable mention is for those cigar dippers out there. I'd like to dip my cigar in my favorite rum. I want to put it in my brandy. I want to put it in my cognac, and I got them infused with this, and I like to sit it in there, and I let it sit in the jar and let it dry out, and da-da-da-da-da. It doesn't harm the cigar at all. Well, that's a big old lie. Take it from your boy, it's a big old lie. Now, some of you going to say, Banks, I've done and I smoked it well. You just like smoking a damaged stick, and it's okay. Some of us like damaged women and men. It's okay. It's your preference, right? But it absolutely does damage the wrapper. But if that's your thing, that's your thing. Just don't run around saying it does no harm to the cigar, because it absolutely does. Now, you may like that flavor. You may like the way it's smoked, and that is absolutely fine. It's on you. But the truth of the matter is it absolutely damages the stick. So there are my top 10 myths in the cigar industry. Plus, I gave you 2 bonuses. Man, let me know what you guys think. And again, you don't have to agree with me. Put your comments in the comment section, but like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think. Was I on point? Did I miss the mark all the way across the board? Let me know. That's why we're here, to grow the Cigar Life Nation and to become a community across this nation where we can enjoy this stick. Oh, also, I want to tell you this. I had a couple of shop owners inside of the comments and a couple of the videos, and they didn't feel that it was comfortable for them to tag their shops in my comment. Listen, I'm all for the culture. If you know of a shop that I need to visit, or if you own a shop that you want to highlight your shop, man, use this platform to do so. I ain't bothered by that. In fact, I might even visit you. So please, by all means, tag your comment, tag your shop in the comment section. There may be somebody in the comments that live in your area that may need to come out and visit your shop. Let's not gatekeep, man. Let's go ahead and share this love of the leaf with everybody. Man, again, you know where to find the gear at, cigarlifecl.com. We thank you guys. Gear's shipping out all over the country. So again, I thank you. Follow us on our social media, Cigar Life CL. And as always, some of my most used utensils and things I use within the cigar industry or the cigar lifestyle, I put that in the description. So you guys can always go into my Amazon links and click on those and get some of those as well. I'll be updating those with things that you guys may suggest. If you guys got favorite cigar utensils that you use or tools that you use to enjoy your favorite stick, let me know and I'll post it so everybody else can find it as well. Well, man, I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, episode number 4 in the books. We'll see you guys in a week. Take care. And as always, man, put some smoke in the air.